Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's April 27th, 2021. I'm trying to record this video several times and I keep getting too verbose. One of the things I'm going to try and do in this video is I'm taking some screenshots from prior videos that I've done, and my videos are just as disorganized as my workshop. I wish I had them categorized better, but I don't. But these screenshots, the reason I'm putting this quick video together is so that I can share with you my general approach to investing in myself. Now my ethics are self-care, earth care, people care, and future care. And self-care is listed first because the healthier I am as a whole, W-H-O-L-E, then the better I'm able to accomplish the earth care, people care, and future care. So it's really important that I am always trying to be, like, one of my goals every day is to be a better person today than I was yesterday, and tomorrow I want to be a better person than I am today. And better is very incremental. It takes a lifetime of, reflection, self-assessment, listening to other people, going back and looking at things that you said in the past, things that you've done in the past, and trying to be a better person ultimately in the future. And because of the way I process information, and because of some of my accomplishments, people often will ask me lots and lots of questions. So recently, because I've had a few more encounters with people, because selling plants and other things, people will often ask me quite a few questions about, well, I don't know where to turn. I hear this about vaccinations. I hear this about masks. I hear someone who's a doctor says you don't need to do either of those. What's the sense of wearing a mask after you've been fully vaccinated? All of those sorts of things. And this is just, this most recent span of questions. So what I did do is I grabbed a couple of screenshots and I put together like a dozen slides, and what I'm going to do is go through those, and you hear my stream of consciousness as I'm going through these images. But all of them come from various videos that I posted in the past, as far as is it a bad time to invest, where I talk about the different categories of investments, where I talk about tribal leadership, or I talk about the trivium and grammar, logic, rhetoric. I think I'm going to try to go through some of these things so that you can get an idea of how I approach becoming a better person each day, and what I recommend to people as my recommendations for fulfilling your goals in life. At least that's what I'm going to try and accomplish in these next few minutes. So here we go. Investing in yourself is the most important investment that you're going to make in your life, and it requires continued investments over and over again. And one of the things that's really important about the investments is to recognize the different categories or types of investments. Is it a degenerative investment, a generative investment, or a regenerative investment? So a degenerative investment is one where the value depreciates over time. So you put money or time or energy or materials into an investment, and it results on the value being depreciated over time. Buying a brand new car off the car lot, getting a new insurance policy, putting fuel in it, oil, brakes, whatever it may be, regular service and all. Over time, the value of that vehicle depreciates, and you no longer can trade it for the same amount that you invested in it initially, and you're certainly not going to get a better investment unless you've got some beautiful old antique. A generative investment would be one like an annual garden, where you're preparing the soil in a community garden or your own backyard. You're planting seed. You may have bought the seed, you may buy some fertilizer, you do some weeding, you do some watering, you harvest throughout the season, and then you harvest at the end of the season. You eat very well, you may have stored food as well, and so that's a generative investment. It's good for that year, and you got back the value that you wanted to get out of it, after putting in the time and initial costs in initially. So that's an example of a generative investment. A regenerative investment means that you're putting in X number of dollars initially or time, and you're expecting some compounded interest on it. So it may be an investment in a high growth stock over time that you're willing to be patient and give it 5, 10, 15 years for it to return and double, triple, quadruple, and so on. Another example of a regenerative investment would be a permaculture food forest, your apple trees, your peaches, your plums, your berry bushes, your blueberry bushes, whatever it may be. These, after your initial expenditure initially and some regular maintenance each season, year after year after year, as long as you take care of these things, that investment keeps giving you a yield year after year after year. So the other thing to think about whenever we're investing our time and money into something, and sometimes it's really good to pay your top dollar and to spend more time in order to get the quality. But when it comes to these categories, you can only have two, so choose wisely. So if you want some real quick advice and not spend too much, well, the quality of the advice that you get from, quote, the expert may not be as valuable as you hope. When we built our home, we knew we didn't want it, although we wanted to have it done quickly. I decided it would be much less expensive for us to avoid paying contractors and for us to do the work ourselves, which took a few years, but we chose the best materials and we ended up having a beautiful passive solar home. So that worked out extremely well. So just remember, always be looking at the quality, the time, and the cost. And it's not wrong to do something quick and fast because you're not expecting a big return. You want to do it quickly. It's a temporary situation. So, but when you're investing in yourself, you want to choose wisely. So in permaculture, a whole system of economic understanding by Ethan Rowland and Gregory Landau at appleseedpermaculture.com, the 8 forms of capital. I've tried recording this video a couple times and I just get too verbose. But you can stop the screen here and look at it. And I've made other videos about my 10 forms of capital. And here's the same 8 forms of capital showing the currencies and how they complex. And all of these forms of capital override and touch on each other. This is the one that I've shown. So we have, my investments are regenerative investments into intellectual, experiential, social, material, living, financial, spiritual, and cultural capitals. Those are the 8 forms that the permaculturists typically use. And I also include, since self-care is so important, that includes 2 additional categories, health and love and empathy. I just believe unless we separate things out and we put them on our list of things to do and things to invest in, that we might overlook them. We just can't take anything in life for granted. So all of these forms of, all of these categories of investments require regenerative investments if you really want to have a really productive and long life. So in one of my videos, I put this slide up, which is our lifestyle medicine. So this is an example of what I look at for my own physical, emotional, and spiritual health, and nutrition, fasting, my microbiomes in the various parts of my body and all, especially my digestive system, exercise, sleep. And here's a real good, recently articles on amyloid plaques, or the beta amyloid sheets that are waste products that end up in our central nervous system and cause dementia and Alzheimer's disease. This amyloid plaques end up building up between our neural synapses, the connections between neurons, and they affect initially just short-term memory, and then ultimately it can lead to dementia, Alzheimer's disease as well. So sleep is so important, and that's one of the things I haven't been really good about. Controlling chronic stress, spiritual health, intellectual health, emotional self-awareness, relationships and intimacy, choosing the right tribe and team, those people that you spend the time with, hygiene, body care, your environment as well. All of these are examples of how I look at things. And if you notice these last 2 slides, they're both wheels. and these are all spokes on a wheel. That's how I look at it. You're not going to go very far unless the spokes on your wheel hold up pretty darn well. So there's a really good book called Tribal Leadership. And when we look at groups, 20 to 50 people to form tribes, they create cultures. And those are important investments. Our culture, our social groups and our cultural groups are really important forms of our investments. And so one of the things I did very early on in life was I looked at the people in my life, the people that I was exposed to on a regular basis. And I saw lots of manifestations in my own life and in those people around me that weren't conducive with my ultimate goal of being a better person each and every day and having the impact and achieving the goals that I had in life. So, it's really important. And Jim Rohn is noted for saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I think that's a really profound and important state of awareness. So choosing the right tribe. This is Dave Logan and John King's book. I got this from it, and it's the levels of or categories. And we've all probably known people or worked in places that are like these places, like these categories. So it's the tribe that you're with, you're spending time with. So there's the individuals and all. The tribe is, hey, life sucks, it doesn't matter, nothing's going to get better and all. Then you got the next category, which is my life sucks. It's, I'm not interested in getting involved with everything. Life always craps on me. Everybody takes advantage of me. That's another cultural group. Then there's a group like Trump has brought is a manifestation of, and that's where the lone warrior. I'm the one who can solely achieve this. I'm the guy who's the smartest, the brightest, and all. They're the people who like to tell other people what to do and demand loyalty and all. And that's one type of, and I've worked in environments like that, and that's part of what our culture is becoming so divided here in the United States, because we have different cultures. The next 2 functional groups we can think of, like, we're great, we all work together, we're team players and all. This is very like, I'm not a sports person, but this is a good sports analogy one. We're better than the other team, And then we get to the ones, these are the companies that I invest in, are the life's great, passion, values, missions, really something grand, something beyond what is normal, and they're world changers. So those are where I invest my time, my energy, my money, and all. And it's a really good book, Tribal Leaderships by David Logan and John King. I found out about this from Tony Hsieh from Zappos, who passed away recently. But in this picture you see the team working together, and they can nail down anything because they can all work together to use that hammer. So are you investing wisely? Identify the 5 people or experts in the areas that you need help with. So this changes over time. As we get older, we want to know more about medicine and health related issues. When we're looking at investing, when we're young, we want to find experts in areas that can help us to invest wisely. When we're losing a loved one and all, what are the things we want to do for our estate planning, get things ready for when our parents pass away and all. So important questions to ask are certainly like news media should be asking is who did what, where, when, why, and how. Those are really important questions. As an internist, and even this day and age, when people come and talk to me, I ask them to bring a recorder, or nowadays use their own phone, and allow me to go through answers to their questions. Then they can go home, play back that, they can play back the recording with someone they trust and someone who is more knowledgeable themselves. And they can go through the recording, look at the questions, look at the answers, do some online research as well, because there's great resources out there. The experts aren't, the internet is not the enemy of experts this day and age. You just have to be able to go through and make sure that you understand the grammar. the terms that the person is using, and that means getting out a dictionary or getting out the web and looking up these terms and writing them down, really gaining an understanding about these concepts so that you can understand these things much better yourself. And then once you've written down your list of questions, I'd have people come back, make another appointment. Yes, would they pay another appointment fee to get their questions answered? Yes, but informed consent in medicine is so important. So people often will give consent without getting full information about what does this actually mean. We can give consent when you sign up for a social media thing without reading through the terms and conditions. Everything that we do nowadays, we're just so used to not taking full responsibility, owning the responsibility, becoming better informed about what we're giving consent to, whether it's talking to an attorney and let's say the attorney is when we're talking about estate planning, the attorney does divorces, does real estate, does a whole variety of different things, does car accidents, does DWIs. And they're going to do your estate planning? Well, I don't think so. I want to know someone who's an expert in that area. When someone, you don't expect your regular general practitioner doctor to be your oncologist, the person who's the expert in cancer, or your genealogy expert, the geneticist who's going to advise you about what these mutations actually mean. These are things you can do. So you always want to find the experts and invest in those experts, but go about it in such a way that you're learning through the entire process. And you don't have to be a master of all trades. You can find companions, some friends, some loved ones. Choose the people, the 5 people that are going to be around you all the time, or at least be able to tap as a resource for being experts or being very knowledgeable in some of these areas. This is how we achieve self-empowerment. This is how we use regenerative investments in all of these different 10 categories that I mentioned to do it. That's how we change I can't do it to I can do it. Why? Superman isn't coming. Someone isn't going to sweep you off your feet and everything's going to work out forever. And having said that, a good book, and I'll put a link in the description below, Erin Brockovich, which the movie played by Julia Roberts, about, I can't remember the name of the factory now, but it was one of the big industrial complexes that was polluting the environment. And if it wasn't for the individual citizens getting involved and complaining and doing the research, they would never have discovered why so many people were developing cancer, so many people were dying, so many people were having all these other health-related issues, is because their water was so contaminated. And I made environmental work group, EWR.org, environmentalworkgroup.org, about water cleanliness and how you can look up things. Well, this book came out, Superman is Not Coming, by Erin Brockovich, the person that Julia Roberts portrayed. And I think this is awesome. I haven't finished the book yet, but I'll put a link in the description below. It's about our national water crisis and all. And we need to become informed ourselves, and we need to work together in small groups to be able to make a change in our own environments to make our lives better. So with that, I think I'll end this video. If you think it was of value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And by all means, folks, take good care of yourself. Remember, Superman isn't coming. You need to take care of yourself. Take care now. Bye-bye.